Okay. Okay. Okay, we are live right now. Okay. Post this on Twitter here. Okay. Hello, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a good Friday here. There's my horse, okay, over here. Hey, Jonathan, how are you, man? Okay. I am too, Jonathan. Okay. Will you do usual 5, but saving for a lowrider bike? Wait. Would you do... What do you mean, Guero? I'm confused. Thank you for the super chat. You don't have to super chat me again. If you could just explain to me what you mean, Guero, I'll look for your comment. I'm just a little confused. What are you asking me? Yeah, I just heard about the GTA Plus thing. It was, that there's some kind of new car club. I'm gonna probably react to that later. Do you think China runs the mafia state? It's a very corrupt government. China's, you know, very much an authoritarian state. A mafia state is definitely North Korea, 100%. China is still a very corrupt, country. No, but I've seen clips of Yellowstone. I would do usual $5 for super chat, but I'm saving for parts for my lowrider bike. Oh, okay, that's what you meant by the usual 5. Okay, I was just a bit confused, Guero. Okay, but that's fine. You don't, I always appreciate any kind of donation. You don't have to, you also don't feel like you have to give me a donation, only if you truly think I deserve it. But thank you for the super chat, man. I did, when I was at the end of high school, I considered joining the military, but decided not to do it. Let's see about getting this target here. What GTA is the hardest to platinum? GTA 4 probably, yeah. GTA 4. Hey man, your contents are amazing. Success to you. Hi from Cape Verde. Well, thank you, Ayrton. Thank you for stopping by. I was going to donate today, but my work stole all of my paycheck. I'm very sorry, Pro. They said they lost my check, but I think they stole it. I'm sorry. Well, it's okay, Viper. And like I said, you know, guys, I appreciate always donations and I do have the option to donate, but don't feel like you have to donate to me. Don't feel like you have to for me to read your comment or respond to you. I always appreciate any kind of support. But I really hope that you you get your check back from your job, because they can't do that. They have to provide you with a check. I would research what the labor laws are in your area, Viper, because if they're withholding your check, you can report them to the government. No, and I understand that, Vic Vance. I appreciate that. It's like I said, it's like the option to donate is always available there, and whenever people do donate, it helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it tremendously. But all I'm saying is, like, don't feel pressured to donate. That's just all I'm saying.
I can pay for that.
How much do we need for the update? I would say probably, if you have at least $20 million, I think you're good. I think with $20 million, you'll be able to buy everything. That includes the jet and all the cars. And then the helicopter probably too.
I'm done here.
Hi, Pro. Love your videos. Thank you, Brian. I have 51 million. You're definitely good for the update. Hey, Pro. How's the rental property? Rental property is going good. Somebody destroyed my mailbox cover on my rental property house. I don't know why, if it was an accident or what happened. It just was just like the front door of like the mailbox was kind of like destroyed all of a sudden. But I had gotten that fixed. I will never forget, oh, yeah, that was, from when I saw 1,000 Cuts for the first time in Kane and Lynch 2. Thanks for playing the duology, mate. No problem, Mr. Waifu. And you know, that mission 1,000 Cuts is probably, like, the darkest mission in a crime game I've ever seen. Kane and Lynch 2 is not the darkest game I've ever played. The darkest game I've ever played is Outlast. But Kane and Lynch 2 is, out of all the crime games I've played, crime game-wise, Kane and Lynch 2 is the darkest crime game I've ever played. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. Hey, Pro, good evening. Did you see the PlayStation blog, at all? We finally got a release date for Spider-Man 2, and Sony and Insomniac announced a semi-controversial collector's edition. Did you see Rockstar, YouTube? I don't know about the Spider-Man thing, Blinded Eagle, but I did hear about the Rockstar thing, that there's some kind of new GTA Plus car club thing. I'm gonna probably react to that tomorrow, so I'll probably have a video tomorrow talk with the GTA Plus car club thing and what I think about it. But the GTA Plus car club thing sounds stupid. Yeah, I do, but I haven't played the newer Assassin's Creeds.
Oh my God, no!
The new Yakuza game? No, I haven't. Yes, definitely. World at War is like the best World War II game. That game deserves a remake.
No way.
Wait, what, Phoenix? What? Why is that?
All right, man. Come back anytime.
Man, I love your videos. I wish I could more. Just lost my job. Sorry. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry to hear about what happened with your job. I hope that you get a new one and a good one. But I appreciate the donation, Daniel. But just don't feel pressured to donate to me. But I do appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thoughts on Modern Warfare Season 4? I don't know. What I'm disappointed about is that there's no new vehicles added to the regular DMZ. Because why don't they just add dirt bikes to Al-Mazrah? Because I think that'd be like the perfect map for dirt bikes. Have you ever cursed? Of course. No, I haven't, Gunner. Okay, when it's at 3 minutes, deliver the target. I love Red Dead Redemption. This is awesome. Well, thank you, King. You heard of Michael Franchise? Yes, he was former member of it was the Gambino family, I believe. He was a capo. He does videos on YouTube now talking about what organized crime was like. I know the guy. Don't know him personally, but I've seen his videos.
I'm done here.
What makes Call of Duty games so overrated? The amount of sales. Would you consider Red Dead Redemption 2 the greatest game of all time? It's definitely up there, regular dude. Thank you for the super chat, but my personal favorite game is Saints Row 2. I think Saints Row 2 is the ultimate gangster game.
Excited to see him go. Thanks.
Red Dead Redemption 2, this isn't really a gangster game, but it's, what I will say about it is that the fact that the world is so alive in this game. It's not like Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't an RPG, but yet the world just feels so alive with just all the dynamic events, just talking to all the NPCs. Yeah, that's what I would say about Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, well, Rockstar abandoned the Red Dead community. Was the Red Dead Redemption 2 story spoiled for you while you played it? Kind of, yeah. When I was, basically what happened was, I guess, you know, I'm gonna talk Red Dead Redemption 2 spoilers if it's okay. I mean, the game's, I guess, about to be 5 years old this October. But when I was first playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on the channel back in 2018, I was doing a stream of the story. And I remember there was people who were actually donating, like making super chats, donating spoilers. And I don't know why they were doing that. They just took pleasure in just trying to ruin the game for people. But what people kept putting in the spoilers, they kept saying in the spoilers, they kept saying Micah kills Arthur, the end. That's what people like kept writing in the spoilers. And I saw a bunch of those comments, and when I played the game, and what's it called? Got to the final part when you fight Micah. Arthur didn't die from Micah. So I was like, wow. I guess I didn't get spoiled. I guess it was nonsense. But then I find out that when you have low honor, that you die from Micah. When are you making another GTA 4 lore video? GTA 4, possibly sometime this month. I have a San Andreas and a GTA 5 lore video planned right now. And I'm also be covering the GTA Online update. Yeah, that whole car club thing is stupid. I might read up on that later, Vic Vance. Well, I'm gonna try to have a lore video out possibly next week, but if I have a lot of content to do in the GTA 5 GTA Online update, that lore video might get a bit delayed. Because I want to cover everything in the update when it comes out. Let me head on over to my moonshine business. What's your favorite, The Lost and Damned or The Ballad of Gay Tony from the DLC? I think that The Lost and Damned had a little bit better of a story, but The Ballad of Gay Tony had some better gameplay. But what I will say about this also is that it's really hard for me to enjoy The Lost and Damned now, knowing how Johnny's story ends. Thank you, Daniel. And thank you, Blinded Eagle. Don't quote me on it, but I think I've heard that the Car Club isn't actually full exclusive to GTA Plus. I think anyone can see it, but GTA Plus gives the benefits. It's still really stupid, but I'm going to thank you for the super chat though, but I'm gonna make a video probably tomorrow, probably reacting to the Car Club.
I ain't ready to live as good as you yet. We got ourselves a music lover. Maybe some of y'all know how this one goes.
Volition is the company that makes Saints Row. Everyone will be able to enter the car club, but only GTA Plus subs will get to use any of it. Wow. Bro, why do you hate GTA Plus so much? Because it's not necessary. It's like, when GTA Plus came out, that launched in 2022? So it launched, like, 8.5 years later? Like, have you guys ever heard about something like that? Like a subscription service coming to a game 8.5 years later. 8.5 years later. That's just what I'll say. I don't think it's necessary, something like that. Never forget what Volition took away from us. Yep. Thank you, Mr. Waifu. They destroy the Saints Row series. GTA's only competitor and it's ruined. Yeah, I wouldn't mind crossplay with consoles, but I don't want crossplay with PC. Because of modders, possibly. Okay, stands a little bit more for this daily challenge. Well, Volition killed Saints Row. Yes, I would consider doing a replay of Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode, but I don't know when, because Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode is really long. It's like 40 hours long. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. What do you mean that Driver was out in the early 2000s? The PS1 game, right? I have that one.
Good news! We have some new clients.
Hey, James, how are you, man? Does anyone need to sell anything, by the way? Is the stream laggy for anybody else? Or is it good for everyone? Yes, I would, Wheat. I saw that the, SM2 Collector's Edition is semi-controversial. Oh, Spider-Man 2, because you do get a steelbook and 19-inch Venom statue, but you don't even get a disc. Basically, everything is digital, even the bonuses. And it's $239.99, $240 collector edition, and you don't even get the disc with it. Wow. Do you get the game digital at least? Do you get that? Blinded Eagle? It was a competitor for GTA, I believe. Kind of, but Driver is not a competitor anymore. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, Driver was fun. Whenever I played the missions in Cuba, I would always crash my car in that game. Go to Valentine. No, not in Cuba in real life. In Driver 2. In Driver 2, there's a Cuba mission. I'm saying that whenever I played the Cuba missions, I would always crash. How many signs does the petition have? Let me check right now, Carter. 2,556. I'll put the GTA 4 petition in the comments. So if you guys want a GTA 4 remaster, I guess sign that petition, because I'm trying to get Rockstar to possibly notice it too. No, I've never been to Cuba. You do get the game, but it's a code. Rare and Insomniac L. Well, at least, I mean, you get the game, but they should have given you the disc with it. The disc and the case. Not gonna work? Probably, but it's better than nothing. Okay, let's go over that bounty board. Those are the same guys that made the Resistance games, right? Insomniac? Okay, and let me just get a bottle of water, guys. I will just be right back here.
Get moving, will you?
One moment here, everyone.
Come on. Out of my way.
Okay. Back here. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Rockstar has become EA, yeah. They have. Maybe even worse than EA at this point. Have you played a Heavenly Sword game? No, I haven't.
Hello. Anyway. Out of my way. Yeah.
Your hat looks sick. Well, thank you. What heist would you like in GTA Online? I think, why don't they do a North Yankton heist? Because they could do like a missile silo or something like that. Because North Yankton is based on North Dakota, and the US government does have missile silos in North Dakota, so why don't they do something like that? They recreate the North Yankton map, but they add like a new area to it. No, JPK. Pro just wanted to say, love your videos, and love that you cosplay the characters. What's your favorite part of Red Dead Redemption 2? Thank you, Angel. I would say my favorite part of Red Dead Redemption 2, it might be a bit controversial, but I would say the Guarma chapter. Because Guarma is like a new location, and it's so different from everything else in the game. Like, Guarma, you're thrown in the middle of a war, and you get to sink a battleship in that. So I would say probably the Guarma chapter is probably my favorite part. Oh. I have a weird idea for a playthrough. Go through the classics catalog. I'm guessing you have PlayStation Plus Premium. And blindly scramble through the games, and what you land on is what you play. CUD add variety. I mean, I could do like a, I could have like a bunch of random games and then have like a way for me to decide which random game to play. But there are a bunch of like really weird and dumb games in the PlayStation Store, and I wouldn't want to play those games personally. Is Reddit Online any good? Reddit Online, if you started playing it right now, Daniel. If you started playing the game right now, they're really... How do I say it? You'd have a lot of fun if you started playing the game right now. There'd be like Trader, Collector, Moonshiner, Naturalist for you to do, complete the Leclerc storyline. But once you complete everything, it's going to get very repetitive. I'm going to stream the new DLC and do videos on it too, But the first day that a DLC comes out, I don't stream it. The first day I usually put a video, second day I usually stream it. The worst Saints Row game, probably the new one, the reboot. Hey, Pro, do you have any tips for the mission Trial by Fire of GTA 3? It's pretty early on in the game, but I'm stuck on it. Is that the mission where you have to go to Chinatown and like kill triads with the flamethrower? Is that mission specifically? Belated happy birthday, Pro. So glad to be part of this wonderful community you've built. Thank you, Vince. Thanks, man. Thank you guys all for the super chats. I really appreciate them. When it's under 1 minute left, I guess deliver the target at that point. Yeah, I'm always open to other new crime games, Zach. I think GTA needs more competitors, personally.
I'll find you and make you real sorry.
Thank you, a suspect. Well, it's been my birthday on the 7th.
Come on again.
Another $2. I fell asleep during your birthday stream. Well, thank you, Victor. I do appreciate the donations. Thanks, man. I think that the new Sniper Elite games should try the Pacific. I think they should.
How are you?
Well, if they did a Korean War in Sniper Elite 5, that kind of would be like a Cold War game. How do you get the M16 on... M16 in GTA on third person? Well, to get the M16, you would have to buy it in the store. In the past, you had to complete the, what was it, the, you had to go to the multiple crime scenes, but now you don't have to do that anymore. Can I add you? You could try to add me, King of Killing. What's your PSN? Oh, 171, and no, it didn't.
You got a problem?
$171. Probably check if we can sell our moonshine now. Well, the trick is to hit them when they're in groups with the flamethrower. That is an El Burro mission too, right? You can watch my El Burro missions on my playthroughs and to see how I completed that if it's hard for you with that.
Can a man not ever rest? C'est parti.
Oh, okay, King of Killing. No, I played GTA 4 when it first came out. I know the game pretty well, actually. My favorite gang in GTA 3? Probably Yakuza. Yeah, I can't sell the bird here either.
We have a batch ready to go.
Half-Life 3 confirmed? I don't know about that. People telling me to play what? Mr. Green? Did people actually defend Rockstar abandoning Red Dead Redemption 2? Yes, they did. And oftentimes they said really stupid things. Like, they would say that it's good for business. Yeah, there was just a bunch of really dumb comments like that. I don't know why people go to such efforts defending Rockstar canceling a game that they never even played much themselves. Fast show. I love when the gang, walks up to the store, like Braithwaite Manor. Been watching all the lore videos. Man. They're good. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, DL Gaming. Thought of adding a parody gang of the Saints. In my fanfic series called the Reno Angels. And the boss would be named after you, Patrick. Thoughts? Well, thank you, Adil Gaming. If I had a character named after me, that'd be kind of an honor. GTA Plus subscribers gotta be the ones defending it. But here's the thing about this. You guys know how you can make the GTA, the Rockstar defenders go crazy? This is what you do. You tell them this. You tell them, if Rockstar abandoning Red Dead Online is a good business decision, ask them whether Rockstar doing GTA Plus is also a good business decision, because you can make the same argument that it is, considering that they're making a ton of money from it. Yeah, the spam for GTA 6 is a bit ridiculous. So many people want it, and GTA 6, I'll say, is, yeah, I would say it is the most hyped up game. It is, you know, yeah. I don't know if it's overhyped, but it is definitely hyped up. What if GTA 6 flopped? Oh, GTA 6 flopped. That'd be the end of Rockstar. That'd be done. That's, you know, their main bread and butter. And if they mess that up, it's over for Rockstar. Well, no, I still like playing Red Dead Online. I have fun playing Red Dead Online. I know they abandoned it and it's unfair to the game, but I still enjoy playing this game with friends and still like helping people out and stuff like that. If I was playing by myself, yeah, I would be getting bored in this game. But if I'm playing with people, then it's not boring because I'm doing something with other people. I'm hanging out with other people on the game. Well, it'll include all the boroughs now, apparently. That's definitely a good thing. Oh, I still don't know what that is, Mr. Green. I think that GTA 6 is going to do well, because Rockstar can't let that thing fail. However, though, even though I'm not that concerned with GTA 6 single player, I am a bit concerned with the multiplayer. Because there's probably going to be some GTA Plus version launching with the multiplayer, and then it's probably going to be, yeah. I'll fast travel to Saint Denis when you guys get the chance. I can't add you. I think you have too many pending requests. I can probably try to add you after the stream, King of Killing. Thank you for the super chat. But with the amount of money that Rockstar made from the GTA Online microtransactions, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a GTA Plus Part 2 to GTA 6.
Would you move, please?
Oh my God! What's your issue?
It wasn't good for business to abandon Red Dead Redemption 2, but I think it was mostly due to laziness. Because Rockstar realized they didn't have to put that much work into GTA Online as they do into Red Dead Online. They don't spawn in groups for you, huh? Well, what are you dying from in Trial by Fire? Are you dying from them running into you with fire or shooting you? Why don't you try driving away from the neighborhood and then coming back? Because the NPCs might actually spawn during that then afterwards.
Been better. Oh, great for you.
This is Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, I missed your chat. I'm sorry, Isaiah. Let me see. I think multiplayer probably won't come out for a year after the, No, I think multiplayer is going to come out like a month or two after this. They're probably going to give everyone a month just to play the single player. and then they'll release the multiplayer afterwards. Oh, thank you, Blind Eagle. Want to make a top 4 or 5 PS4, PS5 games? If they fought, I already have GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us 1, Spider-Man trilogy, and The Last of Us 2, and the GTA trilogy, as aside from special mentions, since they're since their communities are divisive. Yeah, well, I think that I think the least divisive community is the Red Dead community, because most Red Dead players were in solidarity with the whole Save Red Dead Online thing, and they were just getting pissed off about Rockstar's just neglect of the game. What inspired you to become a YouTuber? Nothing really inspired me to become a YouTuber. I did it for fun, and then over time, it grew into something bigger. Okay, don't wait for me, guys. Start clearing out the area. I'm coming. No, I wouldn't snitch on my coworkers. The only time I talked to my manager about a coworker 2 times of mine. And just one moment, guys. I will be right back. Let me just go heat up a coffee here. Just 1 second, guys. Just be right back here. I'm sorry if I'm just a little tired, guys. I just, I don't know why. It's just getting to me a little bit, too. But just give me 1 moment here.
I'll be an outlaw to the day I die. It was a hell of a day. Gonna sit right here or sleep till doomsday. I ain't never getting a real job. I'd rather die. This another day off for you? Huh?
Okay, here. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, no, I just, coffee's almost done. I just don't know why. I'm just sorry. I'm just a little tired all of a sudden. I just don't know why.
I could use a long
I
read.
did get a good night's sleep, but I don't know why. Sometimes it just gets tired. Here. Okay. Okay.
I
Let me see here. I don't usually drink coffee a lot, but I just started drinking a little bit recently when I get a little exhausted.
I'll be an outlaw to the day I die.
Let me see here. What comment was I reading before I left here? Just also hat back on here too.
You're the laziest person I know.
Well, what I was saying about YouTube, you know, nothing really inspired me to become a YouTuber. I just did YouTube as something for fun, and then eventually it grew into what it is today. I think that what Rockstar is going to do is they're probably going to, when they nerf the laser, they're probably going to either reduce the blast radius, or they are going to reduce the fire rate. That's what I can picture them doing. What's your comment, Zach?
I'm all screwed out.
I wonder if Rockstar can have the protagonist rise up the ranks of the Russian Mafia in GTA 6. Well, Russian Mafia might appear, because the Russian Mafia does, in Vice City, does have a speedboat network, which they send drugs up to Vice City. The irony of Rockstar blaming the hot coffee leak on a hacker, then 20 years later, GTA 6 gets leaked. Also, I had mainly been asking for thoughts on what other games I should put on the top 10 list. Well, my top list of games would be like, if I was to make a top 10 list of games, I would think, you know, GTA 4, Red Dead Redemption 2, Saints Row 2, Fallout 3, what else is there on there? There's a bunch of games I like. Skyrim, and for people wondering, yes, Fallout 3 was my favorite Fallout game. What else? What other games would I put on there? Can't think of any at the moment. You mean the Polish-Soviet War and, the Polish-Soviet War in 1920. A bit on that one. It was a conflict between the Soviet Union and Poland. Poland actually got kind of far into the Soviet Union, and then the Soviets pushed the Poles back and got all the way to Warsaw, but then they failed in their attack on Warsaw, and they got driven back. Hi, Pro. I'm new to Red Dead. Is there a way to teleport to missions on the map? I don't have money yet to fast travel. How would you... Is there a way to fast travel for free?
I tell you what.
I mean, your camp, I know, has a discounted travel, if that counts. But once you start getting a lot of money, though, the travel isn't really going to be that expensive.
Hey, not keeping you awake, am I?
Do you think that Take-Two had influence over Red Dead Online being canceled? Yes, they did. I definitely do think they did. I don't think they would. I don't believe them. Would you snitch on your coworkers at your retail job? I actually have a story about this. I'll answer your story. Just hold on, my coffee's ready. Let me just get it right now.
This here fire's the only company I need.
Tell you what I learned. Folks a hell of a lot easier to rob when they's cold.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry for just repeatedly getting up. It's the last time I'm getting up here, guys. I just got my coffee here. It's a lot easier for me just to woken up here. Just don't know why this tiredness got over me all of a sudden. But I'm gonna answer your questions now. And I'm gonna tell a story right now. Okay, here. Go over here. Okay, so person asking me, would I ever snitch on my coworkers in retail? There's a very big difference between snitching and telling on someone. Let me ask the chat. Does anybody in the comments know the difference between telling on somebody and snitching? Does anybody know the difference? Because people mix the two up and they think that they're the same, but it's not. Does anyone know what the difference is?
Get the hell away from here. You round
No, telling on someone and snitching is actually not the same thing. Yes, Carter, you are 100% right. Okay, so the difference between snitching on somebody and telling on somebody, the difference between those two is that when you snitch on somebody, whatever you're snitching on that person for, you were a part of. So you were also doing something bad and you decide to tell on somebody else. And you're snitching not because you think that it's a good thing to do, but you're snitching because you're just primarily trying to save yourself. That's why criminals are oftentimes called snitches, because they're part of it. Whatever, they get arrested by the cops and they're facing serious jail time. And so they decide to basically snitch on the other people in their gang or mafia just to avoid higher jail time themselves. So it's primarily to save themselves. It's not even because they think that it's necessarily the right thing to do. And snitching would be the same thing. Like, you know, if you're at your job and you snitch on your coworkers, whatever you snitch on your coworkers for, you were part of it too. That's what snitching is. Telling on somebody means that you were not part of it. You didn't have any involvement in it. And also, here's the difference. Snitching has usually some kind of ill intent. That's the thing. There's usually some kind of ill intent to it, where telling on somebody doesn't always have ill intent to it. So people get it mixed up, but it's not the same. Now, the person asking me, would I snitch on my coworkers? No, because I didn't do anything bad ever that I would snitch on somebody for. I wasn't part of anything. Would I tell on my coworkers? There was only, in my entire time working in retail, in 6 years, there was only 2 times that I ever talked to my manager about a coworker, only 2 times, and they were for very specific reasons, because I didn't want to talk to my manager about it, but these people basically gave me no choice. So the first time that I ended up telling to my manager about this one guy, I'm just gonna go through this quick because it's a very long story, but it's the narcissist. If you guys remember the narcissist that I talked about in retail, there's a guy that I worked with on the night shifts. And the guy that I worked with on the night shifts, I'd be there from like 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. So I'd be there the entire night. This guy that I worked with, he was there every single night shift. Every single truck he was there. And the guy was extremely rude. Very nasty. Not a nice guy. You know, he would just snap at people. He would, he would lash out at people all the time. He was very careless, very reckless. He would push stuff in your direction, nearly hit you with stuff. He wasn't trying to hit you on purpose, but just how careless he was, he could easily hurt you. He did hurt me once. One time he had he was basically throwing stuff on the belt when I was downstairs, loading the belt, and he hit me with something when it fell down the belt. Like, he basically just threw it down the belt, it bounced off. It wasn't heavy. I think it was like a shampoo bottle, but it hit me in the head one time. There was another time where he actually hurt me one time, where he dropped a, he was basically taking apart a U-boat. You know what a U-boat is? Those things that those things you push, like those big, steel, iron, metal things that you push that usually have stock on. He was taking it apart in the basement. I remember it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I told him, don't rush, but he still rushed, and he dropped like that 50-pound bar on my foot. He dropped it on my foot. And what happened was, I freaked out. It hurt like hell. I've never felt pain like that before, really, that I can think of. And what happened was I freaked out on the guy for dropping it on my foot. And when I yelled at him, imagine having a 50-pound object being dropped on your foot because somebody's being careless. And I literally, I yelled at this idiot. and and what happened was, it takes a lot to get me to yell at somebody, it really does. And he just basically, he looks at me, and he's like, Patrick, you need to stop yelling at me. That's like what he says to me. Like it's somehow my fault, like I'm being rude to him or something like that. Like just no remorse, nothing. That he just literally dropped this object on my foot, nothing. Literally, so that's why I called him a narcissist, because it was always about him and nothing about anybody else. It was always, he was the victim, everybody always was being mean to him. And literally what happened was, that night, I left earlier, so I left shortly after that. My supervisor let me go home, and what happened was, when I got home, when I was taking off my shoes, and I looked at my sock was all red, and I was like, oh boy. And so I take off, my sock, my foot is bloody. And what happens is, I went in my shower, then, put on a fresh pair of socks, and I went to sleep. Now, when I woke up, this was like the next day or the day after that. Basically, what happened was, when I was walking around, I wasn't able to feel my entire leg. So even though this object landed on my foot, I wasn't able to feel my whole leg. Like my whole leg, I wasn't able to feel. Like I was still able to walk, but it's like it wasn't there. Like I would hit my leg against something, and it's like I felt nothing. And so it kind of freaked me out. And the pharmacist at my job told me that it was probably my nerves acting up. That's probably what he said. And what I ended up doing is I went to see a doctor. And when I went to see the doctor, I scheduled an x-ray, at 4:30, that same day. So I went to sleep at, when I got home from work, it was like 5 a.m. And I scheduled 4:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. the next day after that. To go see a doctor, and they told me to come into the x-ray department. Now, 4:30 p.m., the x-ray department was closed. I come into the x-ray department, they're like, it's closed. I'm like, why did you guys send me here at 4:30 p.m. if it's closed? So literally, I went to another doctor across town who was actually able to do an x-ray that same day. And I did the x-ray, and the doctor, gave me like this little cast thing to put on my foot. And he told me that he thinks I'll be fine, but we should wait for the x-ray. And the x-ray comes back, doctor tells me that nothing's broken, it was just badly bruised, and I'm lucky. And what got me really pissed off about this is when I was actually talking to my manager, because what happened that day is that guy who hurt me at my job, my manager actually came in maybe an hour after I had gone home because of this injury. And my manager basically walks in the store, and he's like, did everything go good on the truck last night? And this same guy who hurt me basically says, oh yeah, boss, everything went smooth, everything went fine. Completely not mentioning that part, that he dropped that on my foot. And what happened was, I literally, I was talking to my manager, I came back to work like a few days later, talking to my manager has no idea that any of this happened, and I'm sitting in the office with my manager on my break. And I basically told my manager, I'm like, what did you think about what happened on truck? And he's like, what do you mean what happened on truck? I'm like, what did Mike say? That was the guy's name. And my manager says, oh, he didn't say anything. He said everything was fine. And I was like, did he tell you that he dropped a 50-pound steel bar on my foot? And he's like, no, he didn't. And so the manager at that point wrote him up. And that was it. And so that was, I guess, me kind of telling on him, but he kind of deserved it. This wasn't just, something just, I usually mind my own business. I don't get involved in other people's personal business, but he hurt me in this case. And he took no responsibility for it, and he deserved the write-up. So that was pretty much, he didn't get fired, but he got written up. I didn't even want to see the guy get fired, but I wanted some kind of punishment for that. Because the fact that he didn't apologize to me or anything like that, hides it from the manager, crap like that. And then I told on him a second time, but the second time that I told on him, this was like a few months later, basically he kept giving me an attitude every single week. And I wasn't actually the first person who told on him. Like, other people would tell the manager, and they would tell the manager, we're sick of this. This guy's rude to us, he's nasty, all night long. And what basically happens is, the manager would talk to him, and would tell him, you can't do stuff like this. You can't be mean to people. You can't be rude to people like this. And what he would basically do is he would apologize to us, but the apology that he would give us was never really a true apology. It was just he was more being forced to apologize. I could tell he wasn't really sorry. And what happened is multiple people complained, and the same thing would happen every few weeks. He would be rude on the truck night, just bother people all night long, and then then people would complain to the manager. Then he would the next truck night he would apologize to everyone, and then a week later he'd go back to doing it again, and it was rinse and repeat. And so I talked to my manager about this guy before, because I said, you know, I told my manager that, you know, I come in here, I'm one of the few people that does truck, because a lot of people didn't want to do truck, they refused. And there was people who didn't want to do truck, and the boss wouldn't get on their case. But if I didn't want to do truck, the boss would get on my case. And I told my boss, I said, you know, like, you know, I come in, I do truck most weeks. You know, I'm here from, you know, 10 p.m. till 8 a.m. unloading this huge heavy truck all night long, unpacking all these boxes, loading all this product on the shelf. I gotta organize, get it all done for you before you open the store. It's like, I gotta do all this heavy unloading all night long. I don't have to deal with emotional abuse from this guy too. So, like, you know, this is seriously pissing me off. And so my boss would talk to him repeatedly, but it wasn't even just the, it wasn't, and I'm ending up telling the whole story at this point, but it wasn't even just him being rude. That wasn't even the only part that was pissing me off. What other part was honestly pissing me off about this guy is that he would take advantage of people all the time. So what he would do is he would always ask people for help. He would always say, oh, you know, come help me with this, come help me with that. But when you would ask him for help, he'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm busy, I can't, I have tasks to do right now. But he would interrupt your task and ask you for help all the time. And I'll tell you this one thing. In the 6 years that I've worked with this guy, the 6 years I've worked with him, not once have I ever seen him actually bring in food for anybody. Never. Never have I seen him bring food in for anybody. Neither have I ever seen him buy food for anybody. Now, don't get me wrong, he has no obligation to bring in food for anybody, nor buy food for anybody. However, though, when I worked when I worked overnight truck, what basically happened was this guy would eat other people's food. He did that all the time. So how it would work on truck nights is that every single week when we worked on truck nights, somebody would bring in food. So one of my coworkers would bring in food. You know, you'd cook food and you'd bring it for people. And if you didn't cook, you would order food for people. I sucked at cooking, so I would just buy food for people all the time. That's what I would typically do. And so we would switch off. This week I'm buying food, next week somebody else buys food, and just keep going. That's what we would do. And what happened is, in the 6 years that I worked with this guy, never have I seen him buy food or bring in food for anybody, but he would always eat the food. So when somebody would order pizza, he'd just help himself to a slice of pizza. He wouldn't even ask. He would just help himself to a slice of pizza all the time. And somebody would bring in sandwiches, he'd take one of the sandwiches, he'd eat it. And then he would never bring in food for anybody. And that just personally, that personally pissed me off more than his rude behavior. Because the rude behavior, it was up to a point I could deal with it, but just, you know, taking advantage of people like that was just seriously irritating the hell out of me. That he would never do anything for anybody, but just constantly take people's food. My friend, who was my coworker of mine, he was getting really pissed off. Like, he was getting even more pissed off than me. Like, he was getting really, really annoyed with this guy. And what basically happened was, one night, I remember, you know, my friend got much more irritated than me. It was summertime. It was hot outside, right? It was really hot. And what happened was, the supervisor, you know, we were unloading a huge heavy truck. So even though this was like 2 o'clock in the morning, it was still really hot. It had to be like 90 something degrees, maybe like late 80s. So we were unloading this huge heavy truck in the middle of summer. It was hot. And what happened was, the supervisor, you know, talked to me and my friend who were unloading the truck and said to us, she said to us, hey, do you guys want drinks? You know, I'll buy you guys drinks. Not alcohol, but this, you know, something from the fridge. And, you know, and I said, oh, cool. You know, I'll have a Nesquik, and I think my friend had like an Arizona. I think that's what he got. And that same guy was not outside with us unloading the truck. So he wasn't unloading this huge heavy truck when it was like, you know, 90 degrees outside. We were out there for hours. What he was doing is he was unboxing the stuff inside where it was air conditioned. That's the whole reason that the supervisor offered to buy me and my friend drinks. He was spying on the conversation. He comes into the aisle and he just says, he's like, you know, why does Patrick get a free drink? Where's my free drink? I want a free drink. Get me a Coke. So that's the type of guy that this guy was. You know, it just seriously irritated me. It annoyed the hell out of me, you know, behavior like that. And what ended up happening was, you know, one night, my friend got really annoyed by that, but one night, we talked to my manager about this behavior. So I talked to my manager about it, but before I even talked to my manager about it, I found out my friend actually talked to my manager first about it. So he got even more pissed off than me because he talked to my manager first about it. So this is, hopefully this answers your question, did I ever snitch on people at my job? This is like, I don't consider this snitching, because snitching is usually when you're involved in something bad, when you're doing something bad and then you tell on somebody. But I wasn't doing anything bad, I was just minding my own business, trying to do my work, and this guy, you know, this narcissist, just harasses people all night long, you know, nothing like sexual or anything like that, but by the harassment I mean is that he would constantly bother people. He would just be be really annoying. He was rude. He was nasty. You know, he would give people an attitude all night long, and he would never help anybody. He would constantly eat other people's food, never bring in food for anybody else, and we're just sick of it. I was just honestly tired of this, you know, annoyed by this crap. And so that's, you know, why I talked to my manager about it, because it was seriously pissing me the hell off, because, you know, I get paid a little bit over minimum wage to unload this huge heavy truck all night long. I don't want to deal with this guy annoying the hell out of me all night long. I don't want to deal with it. And what happened is, my manager said, you know, I'll talk to him, don't worry. And I said, please talk to him, because I'm getting really sick of this. Now, what basically happened is, the next week, we were working on the truck. That same guy literally walks up to me and my friend, and he says to us, he's like, hey, do you want drinks? I'll buy you guys drinks. I'm buying this week. And I was like, what? I felt that something was off. I just felt something was not right here. Like, I just felt it in my gut that something wasn't right. Because for 6 years, I've known this guy, that he has not, you know, ever bought anybody food, ever. And all of a sudden, he's just walking up to me. He was never my friend. He never got along with me. All of a sudden, he's walking up to me, my buddy, and he's offering to buy us. I just knew something was off, and I was right. I was right what was off. So what basically happens is, we get drinks from the fridge, we go up to the front, and I told him, I'm like, hey, you know, you're changed. You've actually bought people food, like, food this week, or no, drinks this week. And what basically happened is, you know what he says to me? He's like, oh no, I didn't buy anybody drinks. The manager just gave me $20 and told me to buy you guys drinks. That's what he said. So this guy was such a narcissist that he even admitted to that the manager gave him money just to buy drinks. And what the manager was basically trying to do, the manager gave him $20 and told him to buy us drinks to make it seem like he changed. And that pissed me off too, that the manager did that. The manager wasn't a terrible person. He was kind of a nice guy, but that was something that he did that really annoyed me. He shouldn't have done that, because he should have been, the guy himself should have been the one to buy people food or drinks. It should not have been the manager giving the guy $20 thinking that, like, and us thinking that he's going to change. So that pissed me off a bit. And what ended up happening is, my friend, like, just turned, he looked at me in the eye, and he just said to me, Patrick, I'm done. And he just walked out. That was it. He was done. And what ended up happening is, I went to my aisle. The supervisor found out later on that the guy walked off shift. The guy, my friend who walked off shift, didn't even tell the supervisor at the time. And what happened is, that guy, the annoying guy, comes into the aisle where I'm unboxing, you know, stuff, walks up to me and basically says to me, he's like, Patrick, what is your problem with me? And I said to him, like, you know what my problem is with you? In the 6 years that I've worked with you, I have never seen you ever buy food for anybody, buy drinks for anybody, bring in food, none of that stuff. But then when people bring in food all the time, you will happily take their food. You will happily eat their food, but you won't bring in food for anybody ever. That's my problem with you. I said that to him straight up, because I was getting really annoyed. And usually I'm not the type of person to, like, talk back to people. I don't like to start confrontations or arguments or stuff like that. I'm usually a pretty chill guy. It usually takes a lot to get me pissed, but in that case, I was pissed and I was annoyed, because I just, like, my friend just quit the job right here. He was one of the few people I got along with, and because this guy was just being a complete idiot, so I was annoyed. And so I just basically told him that straight up. And the really messed up thing about this is that my friend who actually walked off the clock that day, just walked out, he brought in sandwiches for everyone. And after he walked out, that scumbag took one of the sandwiches and ate one. That was just, that's what was just so messed up. And when I told him that my problem with you is that, you know, you constantly eat other people's food, but you never bring in food for other people, you know what he said to me? He said to me, so? That was his reaction, so? Like, my God, it's like, you know, like, somebody that, the thing about that is that he was rude and nasty, but he admitted that he was rude and nasty, and he had no shame. That was the thing. He had no shame. It's like he didn't care to admit that he was taking advantage of people. And the thing about this is, whenever I did ring this guy up, whenever I, you know, process this guy's order, whenever he was buying a drink for himself or everything like that, he would always pay in cash, and whenever he would open up his wallet, I would see so much damn cash in that wallet. Like, it was like a ridiculous amount of cash. And it's like, you know, I was thinking to myself, like, how greedy is this guy? Like, and you know, why are you carrying around that much cash? It's like, put it in a damn bank or something like that. Like, why is, like, I saw, like, so much cash in, like, a single wallet. I've never seen that much money before. But it's like, that was just, it was just that. So that's one of the few times that I did tell on somebody, because it was, like, seriously annoying me. And the thing about that is, my manager, when my manager actually found out about that, and I talked to my manager about the whole thing, my manager blamed my friend for that, and he acted like it was my friend's fault. He's like, oh, he chose to walk out. He chose to leave us one man short staffed. That's what my manager said. He's the one who chose to walk out. And I told my manager, I said to him, you know, what were you trying to do by giving him $20 exactly? And, I told my manager that straight up. And my manager said, I wasn't trying to get him to buy you guys drinks. It was just my turn to buy you guys drinks. But I wasn't working that night. But I didn't really believe my manager. I personally think that he gave him the $20 because he was hoping that we just put our differences aside and we were hoping that the guy changes. But I don't blame my friend for that, for walking out. And I had extra work to do that night, sure, because my friend walked out. I did have some extra work, but I wasn't pissed at my friend. I wasn't annoyed at him. I understood why he walked out. I guess, I just have a little bit more patience than him. That's why I didn't walk out. But that was just, I understand completely why he walked out. So I was a bit of a story that I told, but I hope it answered your question. That's why that's the only time that I really did tell. Well, I did tell on somebody one other time. I'll talk about that in a little bit here. But yeah, that was pretty much, that was pretty much it. So what I did by telling on him to the manager, was that really snitching? I don't really think that's snitching, because like I said, snitching is when you're part of something bad and you tell on somebody. Here, I wasn't doing anything bad. It's just this guy was just causing problems. So sometimes telling on somebody is the right thing to do, because if that person is doing bad things, especially if it's causing other people distress, then you have an obligation to tell at that point. So that's it. And look, and here's the thing about this, is that guy, that scumbag that I worked with, if he never took food from anybody, if he didn't want to bring in food for anybody, that's fine. That's fine. He doesn't have to. But if you're going to be taking other people's food that they bring in for everybody, then you have an obligation at that point to buy food or bring in food for everybody. Because you're not going to be eating, if you don't want to bring in food for other people, don't eat other people's food. It's as simple as that. That way you don't eat their food and you're not responsible for giving them other food back. But if you eat their food, you take the stuff they brought in, then you have an obligation to bring in stuff for other people. That's just the way that I see it personally, but he didn't see that way. And look, to be fair to this guy has a lot of personal problems at home. He wasn't like a psycho or anything like that, but he did have some problems in his own life, in his own house. And I did hear, a story once about this guy that his father had passed away, when he was younger. And, I do feel bad for him to an extent. My heart does go out to him too. But, you cannot treat your coworkers like garbage, because we're not doing anything bad to you. We are not, bothering you. We're being nice to each other. We're bringing in food for each other. And this went on for years. This is not some phase that he went through for a few weeks. This went on for the whole 6 years that I knew him. So that was it. So, you can't take out, your personal problems and your personal issues on other people. That's just not right to do that. I've had some bad things that also happened in my personal life. I don't want to talk about necessarily, but when I had bad things happen earlier in my life, I don't ever take that out on anybody else. I don't get pissed off at anybody else or, take it out on anybody. It's just something I deal with on my own. Or I might talk to a close friend or a family member. That's it. But I certainly don't get pissed off at people that have nothing to do with what happened. So that's what I'll say about it, is that it was just, it was that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't work with him every shift, so that's it. So I only worked usually one shift a week with him like that, or one shift every 2 weeks, so I didn't see him every day. So that's one of the reasons that I was able to deal with it. But yeah, it's like I said, he did have some personal things going on in his life, and I do feel bad for him to an extent. I actually do genuinely mean that. I did feel bad for him to an extent, but it's just, you can't treat your coworkers like garbage like that. If he talked to us, he said, I'm really sorry for being a scumbag to you guys. I've been going through some things, but it was never like that. It was instead, this went on for 6 years. 6 years of this. So it's like, how much longer are you gonna, treat your coworkers like garbage? So that was just pretty much that. Let me see here. I think I missed a few super chats. I'm sorry if I did. I hope that you guys, I hope I didn't bore you guys with my story there. But my top games are GTA 4, Episodes from Liberty City, Saints Row 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Need for Speed Most Wanted, Need for Speed Pro Street, Hitman Blood Money, Just Cause 2, Burnout 3, and Revenge. Those are all awesome games, Mr. Waifu. Thank you for the super chat. But Burnout, what was it? Revenge and Burnout 3 Takedown, the ones that I really played. I never really got into Paradise. Hello, Pro. What's my favorite radio ad in GTA 5? I don't know, really. I can tell you my favorite GTA ad of all time, though, is that ad that's in Liberty City Stories that warns, like, about the dangers of the internet. Like, those are pretty funny. There's ads in, like, GTA Liberty City Stories, because it's in the late 90s when the internet started becoming a thing, and the ads in GTA Liberty City Stories are basically saying that kids are going to learn how to make bombs on the internet when kids use the internet. Hey, Pro, can we chat after the stream? Sure, we could. I just might have dinner right after the stream, so I'll probably reply to you a little bit later, but you can just message me afterwards, or we can, party chat tomorrow. Blinded Eagle, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Pro, have you heard of this channel named Psych2Go? It's a channel about mental health, and there have been signs of a psychopath narcissist. Well, this guy was not a psychopath from as far as I can tell, but he was definitely very narcissistic. Opinion on The Sopranos Road to Respect and comparison to other crime games. How different is it from The Godfather mechanic-wise? Very different. Godfather's open world, Sopranos is linear. The only similarities I would say between The Godfather and Sopranos is the hand-to-hand and the hand-to-hand and the fact that it's a mafia game, but the hand-to-hand combat is way better in The Godfather. But what I'll tell you guys another story here. Another story that I'll tell you guys. There was a what was it? Oh man, here, knocked off the horse. There was only one other time at my job that I told on somebody. And the only other time that I told on somebody, this is for a very different person, it's a very different reason. This story, I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but I haven't told it that much, I know that. So, there was this supervisor that I worked with. And this supervisor, he wasn't necessarily rude. He was kind of nice at times, but that's not that's not the issue with him. The issue with this supervisor is that this guy was extremely lazy. And what happened is, I didn't even tell on him for being lazy. That's not what I told on him for. Here's why I told on him, and I'll explain what happened with him. And I didn't want it to come to this, honestly. But basically, what happened is, every Saturday night, I would work every Saturday night, every Saturday afternoon to night. And what I would be responsible for Saturdays is I would be doing sale signs. So every Saturday, I would be doing sale signs. Now about the sale signs. What I would do is if nobody disturbed me that night, if nobody bothered me, I usually could finish all the sale signs for the store in a night. Because I was that quick. I was just really, really fast with them. So if I didn't get stopped by customers, if other people didn't bother me with, other tasks, I usually could finish it in a night. And there was nobody and I'm not trying to show off when I say this, but there was nobody that was really quicker than me when it came to those sales signs in my job, and that's why I was in charge of it every week. Now, what basically happened is that every single Saturday when I worked with this guy, he would try to sabotage me on purpose. He would try to sabotage me and keep me from doing my work. He didn't want me to finish my work. Now, can somebody in the comments tell me, why do you think he was trying to sabotage me? Why do you think he was trying to keep me from doing my work? Because I know the reason why. Well, I want to know, if anybody in the comments, can you figure it out why this guy would not want me to finish my work? Let's get over to the prison wagon here. Jealousy is a good choice, but it's not it. Maybe jealousy was part of it. One person got the right answer. To keep you there overtime. That's the reason. That's it. That is the reason. What he basically did was, he would keep me from doing my tasks. So he would give me some really stupid task to do. Something really dumb. Like, he would send me down to the basement and have me organizing stock or bringing stock up to the floor when I'm not supposed to be doing it that day. So he would usually try to find something stupid for me to do just to waste time. And what would happen is he knew that if he gave me these tasks, I would not be able to finish. Nobody would be able to finish it. It's an impossible task. Impossible. You can't finish the signs before the store closes if somebody bothers you with other things. If I'm just going constantly, I can finish them. But usually when I finish the signs, it's like 30 minutes before the store closes. But if somebody wastes my time with other tasks, there's no way I'll be able to finish the signs. And what happens is, whenever I wasn't able to finish the signs, the supervisor would come down at 10 o'clock, right when the store closes, and he would basically say to me, oh, Patrick, because you didn't finish the signs right now, you can't leave until you finish the signs. And what he would do is he would go up to the office and just sit there and just do absolutely nothing. And he would basically do that just to milk overtime. So he would do that just to get more overtime. That's pretty much what he would do to get extra pay. So he would try to sabotage me, not do anything to help, just so that he would have an excuse for staying longer, because he knew that he would be able to get out on time, everybody would be able to get out on time if I was in charge of doing the sales signs. And so that's what he was doing, is he was milking specifically overtime. Now, I was getting really annoyed by this, but this goes back to the narcissist that I was actually telling you guys about earlier in the story. He would work with me that same day. Now, the narcissist that I was working with, he actually would not really bother me that day. He wouldn't interfere in my tasks or anything like that. And the reason he wouldn't interfere in my tasks is because he wanted to go home on time. So he knew if he didn't bother me, that we'd all be able to leave on time. And so he was mostly on cashier duty those days. Now, what would happen is, when the supervisor came down and would say, you can't leave until all the signs are done, that narcissist would usually blame me instead of blaming the supervisor, saying, oh, because Patrick's too slow, we have to stay longer now. That's when he doesn't even realize that the narcissist is the one who's not the narcissist, the supervisor is wasting my time and just trying to get me to do, nonsense tasks. And what would happen is, that narcissist would complain and complain and complain, and he would complain so much that the supervisor would just let him go home. And he would get to go home on time at 10 o'clock every Saturday night. But me, on the other hand, oh no, I would have to stay an hour or two later. And this happened every Saturday. And I would just be stuck doing the sales signs. The supervisor would not be helping me. He'd just be sitting in the office on his phone. And this probably happened at least 20 times. At least 20 times. That's how many times this happened. It's happened so many times I lost track of it. And what happened was, one night, when I was working truck night, this was when I was working the truck, not the Saturday night sales signs. I was feeling ill. I didn't feel good. I don't remember what was wrong with me, but I just wasn't feeling good. And literally, I actually vomited in the bathroom, in the bathroom of my job, because I don't know what was wrong. I just didn't feel good. I just felt terrible. And what happened is, the supervisor, I told the supervisor what happened, and the supervisor told me, you want to go home? You're not feeling good? And I said, sure, I'll go home. And that narcissist goes in the same aisle as me and says to me, why does Patrick get to go home on time? I want to go home now. Or why does Patrick get to leave early? I want to go home. And I didn't say anything to him that day. I was just annoyed because I was feeling ill. I went home. Now, what ended up happening is, a week later, when I was working with that guy, I confronted him on it. And that narcissist, and he said to him, what right do you have to complain that I was leaving early when I was sick, when you got to leave on time every single time on Saturday at 10, and you left me with that supervisor who did not help at all, and I was stuck there for an extra hour? And do you know what he would say to me? He would say to me, that supervisor doesn't work here anymore. He doesn't work here anymore, that guy. Because he ended up getting fired later on, but I'll explain for what in a moment. But I told him, it doesn't matter if that supervisor doesn't work here anymore. It's the fact that you got to go home on time like 20 times in a row, and I didn't. And the one time I'm feeling sick, and I get to go home early, you complaining. So it's always about him, not about anybody else. But about the scumbag supervisor, that was, about the scumbag supervisor that was basically just milking time. Yes, for people wondering, I did get paid for the extra time, but I didn't want to be stuck there all night long. But about the supervisor who was milking hours, right? What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. What happened with where the story goes is there was one night that I remember where it was a really busy Saturday. There was like a lot of customers in the store, and we had 2 extra people working that day. The narcissist was actually not there. But what happened was the other 2 people that I was working with were college kids. And they actually had finals the next day. And what happened was the supervisor said, you guys, you know, we can't leave. We can't leave until everything's done. This was actually not on a Saturday, by the way. This was a I'm trying to remember. This was a specific holiday. This was a holiday day. But what holiday could this have been? That damn, I can't even remember now. It was sometime. It was not during the summer. I remember that because it was during, you know, it was during when there was still school. What holiday could it have been? I don't remember. The only thing I remember is that it wasn't cold. But anyways, what happens is, the point is, we get a lot of customers that are coming in the store. A lot of people are in the store. The supervisor is just, you know, wasting other people's time, not letting people finish their tasks. And what happened? No, it wasn't Black Friday. It was some kind of holiday because I remember people were buying cards. Maybe it was Mother's Day. What Mother's Day? Maybe it was Mother's Day. I would have to look it up. I think it was maybe Mother's Day. Yeah, maybe it was Mother's Day because I remember people were buying tons of cards that day. It was definitely not Valentine's Day. It definitely wasn't Christmas because I would have remembered it. But it was some other day that people were buying tons of cards for. But anyways. What happens is that supervisor basically decides to keep all of us, you know, there. And he kept us there until 1 a.m. 1 a.m. So we were supposed to leave at 10. He kept us there until 1 a.m. Now, what happened is the other 2 people that I was working with were complaining to him. They were more friendly with me. I was on good terms with my other coworkers that shift. And they were kind of backing me up on this. And they were telling him, you know, I have finals tomorrow. Me, personally, I didn't have finals. But they had finals. They were saying that to him. And they, and he was just causing a scene saying we have to finish this tasks and stuff like that. And what I ended up doing is I ended up, I pissed off, like, the supervisor that night. I annoyed him. But what I basically annoyed the supervisor with is I told my 2 coworkers, I told them, you guys just go home. Just go. You know, I will deal with this. I'll start doing your work. I'll finish it. You guys just go. You guys got finals. And I told them that I'm used to this anyways, because I dealt with this every single week. And so my supervisor got really pissed off that I sent them home, and he's like, you don't have authority to send them home, but I didn't care. Because it's like, you know, these 2 kids had, like, finals tomorrow. And it's like, you know, you're holding them here, you know, what, you're going to destroy their future over a minimum wage job? So that's, so that was that. And what ended up happening is my coworker that night, she, one of the coworkers that I actually sent home, she ended up, she found out about it, that the supervisor yelled at me for sending them both home. And she felt bad for me that the supervisor yelled at me and kept me there until 1 a.m. And so she told the manager about that. She told the manager what he did and how he kept me there till 1 a.m. And what happened was the manager then went to me and said, Patrick, is this true? And I said, yes, it's true. It happened. So I didn't tell the manager anything, but he then went to me and he said to me, is this true what happened? And I said, yeah, it's true. Not gonna lie about, you know, stuff like that. Now, he got, the guy got a good talking to, but he didn't, but even though the guy got a good talking to, he didn't get fired. And the really annoying thing about this is that a week later, he started doing it again. So he started doing it again. He would keep me from doing my tasks, try to keep me there, you know, after 10. And what ended up happening is the manager did kind of get rid of him, did kind of fix the problem, but he didn't fix the problem completely. Basically, what the manager did is the manager offered him a promotion. And he offered him a promotion to, I think it was an assistant manager, but it was at another store. And so there was another store where he could be assistant manager because he was only supervisor. So the manager tells him, I'll give you a promotion to assistant manager instead of another store. And that other store was a little closer to his house. And so he just jumped on it. He took it because he wanted the extra money. And my manager technically, I guess, fixed the problem. I mean, it's kind of like, did he fix the problem for y'all? For us, yes. For other people, no. So maybe he didn't really fix the problem. He just moved the problem from one place to another. It was kind of messed up what my manager did, that he moved him to another store. But at the same time my manager really had nothing else to do. You know, there was really nothing more that he could do. He couldn't just fire the guy. He needed permission from corporate. So there was that. So it was, I don't know if it was the right thing to go about doing it by sending him to another store. But basically what happened was when manager sent him to that other store, within a week, that other store just called us and were pissed. And they were saying, why did you send this guy over here? He's causing a ton of problems. And he was doing the exact same thing he was doing here. He was keeping people till overtime when they were closing. And so doing that, just not helping, being lazy, just a bunch of other stuff like that. And what ended up happening is the problem did end up fixing itself. So he got fired. But he didn't get fired for what you think. You'd think he'd get fired because he's keeping people, you know, past it, milking overtime, not helping, and being lazy and slacking off. You'd think he'd get fired for that. But he didn't get fired for that. Basically, what he got fired for is he got fired for his laziness, but not in the way that you think he did. What happened was he walked into the office at 7 o'clock in the morning when the store was opening one day. And he sat in the office on his phone. And he didn't bring the registers down. So the cashiers had no registers. Ton of customers come in the store because this store was in a shopping center. Ton of customers come in the store. The cashier says they have no cash register. The customers start complaining. The cashier phones this guy, tells him to bring down the registers. The guy opens the safe to get the registers out of the safe. Now what he does is, the door to the office where the safe is like a big steel door. And when that door closes, it locks automatically. So he didn't want to use his key. He was that lazy that he didn't feel like getting his key out to open the door again. So what he did was, he put a cardboard box in front of the door to prevent the door from closing. And he left the safe open. And another coworker of his was walking by the office, saw the office door open with the cardboard box there, and she's like, oh crap, I'm gonna take a picture of this. I gotta take a picture of this. She's rushing to get a picture of this because she knew that it was her chance to get him fired, finally, for something. And so she took a picture of that, went in the office, took a picture of the safe open, and that was a violation because any customer could have went in the office, went upstairs, took everything from the safe at that point. And so he got fired for that. Now, he got a job as a driver for Coca-Cola. That's what he got a job for later on. But I can't imagine what he's like at his job delivering Coca-Cola. I can't imagine what he's like. Because I could imagine that he would just delay deliveries. He'd be like, oh, it's traffic. You know, I was stuck at a red light or something like that. And he would just sit in it, like he would just park his truck somewhere and just sit on his phone. That's what I would imagine him probably doing. So that's so that is the worst possible person that you could choose for a delivery man because he would just delay it and he would never get there on time. That is the worst possible person you can get for a delivery man. But that was basically that. How do you know his new job? My coworkers told me. That's according to them. So I don't know. I don't know how they knew. They just told me that he got a job working for Coca-Cola. Let's see here. Video idea. Top 5 dumbest myths in all of gaming. Thank you, Blinded Eagle. The thing about that is I actually had an idea for a video like this, but regarding GTA lore. And I was gonna make a video, top 5 false myths that people believe about the GTA story. Like, about all the GTA games. Because there's a lot of myths that people believe that are, like, really stupid and really dumb. And, like, I've seen some of these myths in, like, my comment section of my lore videos. Like, some really stupid things. Like, some of the really stupid, like, theories, the GTA theories that I've seen is, like, the reason that Claude doesn't talk is because Catalina shot him in the neck. There's actually people who believe that. I've seen several comments like that. Like, that's so stupid. Like, Claude didn't even talk in San Andreas. It's not because he got shot in the neck. That's dumb. And Claude doesn't even say anything when Catalina betrays him, too. He doesn't say, what are you doing, or anything like, no, he doesn't say that. There's another, myth that people bring up, where they say that CJ is dead, and they say that Tony Cipriani from Liberty City Stories killed CJ, because Tony Cipriani killed somebody before the events of Liberty City Stories, and that's why he had to flee Liberty City, but Tony Cipriani did not kill CJ. He killed a made man in one of in either the Sindaco or the Ferelli family. That's why he had to leave. He killed a high-ranking made man. That's why he had to leave Liberty City. And if he killed CJ, why would he have to leave Liberty City? It makes no sense. That's so stupid. So there's people that believe that too. There's other people who believe that Vic Vance isn't dead. I know some people are like, what? But yeah, there's people who believe that Vic Vance isn't dead, and they believe that the guy who died was Pete Vance. That's what they think, Lance's other brother. Because Vic Vance's name is never used in Vice City stories. Lance just says my brother, and so there's people who actually think that Vic Vance isn't dead, and it was just Pete Vance who died at the deal. That was Vic Vance. It was not Pete Vance. Even the official guidebook for Vice City stories says that it was Vic Vance who died at the beginning of Vice City in the Vice City stories guidebook. And even Rockstar themselves in an interview confirmed it was Vic Vance who died, not Pete Vance. But yet people still believe that Pete Vance was the one who died. Another stupid myth, GTA myth that people believe that Nico is Russian. I don't know how anybody can still believe that. People basically hear Nico's Slavic accent, and because Nico associates with a lot of Russian characters, they think that he's Russian for some reason. He's not. Even though Nico has said he's not Russian in the storyline, there's one dialogue where he says he's not Russian, and he also, the language that Nico speaks does not sound anything like Russian. Like, that was that. So like, even when I played GTA 4, like the first time, like as a kid, I knew that I didn't hear that part when Roman says better than my Serbian at the beginning of the game. I just wasn't paying attention that well. But I knew that Nico wasn't Russian because of the fact that, like, when Roman and Nico would speak a little bit of Serbian, like, when I heard that language, I was like, this doesn't sound like Russian to me. I don't speak Russian personally. My father speaks Russian, but it didn't sound like Russian to me. It didn't. Like, it was just like, I just didn't know what language it was. And then later on, I find out he's Serbian. But there's, like, a lot of people who were thinking that he was from Russia when he wasn't. Is there another, like, lore myth that people believe that's really stupid in GTA? I'm trying to think of one. I know there's another one that's really dumb, too. Oh, there's another lore myth that people believe. People basically believe that the reason that Lance Vance betrayed Tommy Vercetti is because Tommy Vercetti was being rude to Lance. That's like, people believe that too. The thing about that is that Lance would have still screwed Tommy over regardless of whether he was rude or not, because Lance was just a massive narcissist. And the thing about that is Tommy's anger towards Lance is completely justified because Lance was an incompetent fool. That's, you know, what he was. He was an idiot. So it was, you know, that... Oh yeah, that one. Michael is Tommy. That one. I remember that one too. That one's so stupid. That one's dumb. Wow, look at that lightning. There's also oh yeah, there's the one Lester is Brad. You know, Lester is Brad, that one. That one's stupid as hell. Lester is Brad. That makes no sense. That's just so, how could anyone think Lester is Brad? That's like so stupid. I remember when I was talking to Dark Viper AU, we were actually talking about that, about the whole Lester is Brad theory, how it's so stupid. But that was just I don't know how people actually believe that. Nico Bellic dead by GTA 5 is a dumb myth too. Yep. Was Hollywood quicksand a myth to deter kids from wandering off into the woods? What are you talking about, U20? Thank you for the super chat. I was a bit confused. Have you experienced any lootings while you were working in retail? We hear about them a lot nowadays. If you're talking about shoplifting, I've seen shoplifting a few times. I've never seen a robbery, but I've seen shoplifting a few times. Now, if you're asking me, have I seen looting? Yes, I've seen looting one time. There was a guy who came into the store really early in the morning. Like, really early in the morning. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I remember this. And this was maybe like the first year of me working at that job. And I remember I was not a good morning person, and so I was kind of tired. I was on the register. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I was kind of exhausted. And basically, all of a sudden, like, I hear at the back of the store, I hear like, get the police! Like, I was like, what? What the hell is going on? And basically what I see is, I see this guy just running towards the front door with a black garbage bag. And the lady that works at the cosmetics department at my store is chasing after him. And she catches up to him, and they have a tug of war in the door room. And she's pulling on the bag from one side, he's pulling on from the bag on the other side, and he just gives up. He just lets go of the bag, and he just runs out in the parking lot. And apparently what the guy did was, he walked into the aisle where there was, like, cold medicine, and he was just filling up his bag with just garbage bag, with just all the cold medicine. Like, he was just knocking it off the shelf, just grabbing everything, just throwing it in the garbage bag. And he was just gonna walk right out the door. That's what he was doing. Now, for people wondering, why was he stealing all that cold medicine stuff? Because he was trying to cook meth. That was the reason why. The stuff that he was getting specifically for was for meth. That's why he was getting that stuff specifically. Well, I'm not aware of the second event, Tricky Mario. Thank you for the super chat. But as far as I don't know everything about Margaret Thatcher, but as far as I know, as far as I know about her, a lot of British people I know like her for her foreign policy, but don't like her for her domestic policy. That she kind of, from what I've heard talking to a lot of British people, they liked her for defeating Argentina in the Falklands War, but they don't like her for her policies at home itself. So that's as far as I know about it. Well, the thing about that is that, she's very lucky that corporate didn't find out about that, because if corporate found out about that, she would get fired. And, for trying to stop that garbage bag. There was one time when my coworker had tried to stop a shoplifter once, and he pushed her into a shelf. And she was okay. She went to a hospital, but she was a bit shooken up. I believe the Mythbusters had confirmed once that quicksand is, as it is portrayed in the movies, was only a myth. If you know what Mythbusters is. Quicksand in movies. Like, yeah, like, when you're falling into the sand, yeah. I know what you're talking about now. But what's different about it in real life? What are your top 5 radio stations in all of GTA? V-Rock in Vice City. I would say Vladivostok FM in GTA 4. Head Radio in GTA 3 and Liberty and maybe Lips in Liberty City Stories. And in San Andreas, I would say probably Radio Los Santos. San Andreas is the best rap in the series. So yeah, I'd say San Andreas, Radio Los Santos. Why would she be fired? She deserves praise. Oh, no, I agree with you. I don't think she should be fired for something like that. But what people don't know is that in a lot of retail places, if you see somebody stealing and you try to stop that person, you're going to get fired. In most retail places, it's like that. Now, the reason that retail places fire you, I guess, is because they don't want to possibly get sued if you get hurt. But it's stupid, though. But the thing about this is that if employees are not even allowed to tell, customers, hey, put that back or something, I'm not saying they should chase them to the parking lot. But if they're not even allowed to tell shoplifters to stop, then they're not gonna care when shoplifters steal stuff. And do you know what? My store had a really stupid policy. Really stupid policy. Do you know what my store's policy was regarding shoplifters? It was so stupid. The policy was that if somebody shoplifts, you are not allowed to confront them. However, though, what the company wants you to do is the company wants you to follow them out to the car and write down their license plate. That's what they want you to do. And it's like, hell no. I'm not following them out to the parking lot and writing down their license plate only to get jumped by them. No. I get paid a little bit over minimum wage. I don't get paid enough to get attacked. So it's like, no. No, I'm not doing that. Let's do another bounty mission here. We'll go to... Wait, where's the missions? Where's the kids' missions? Oh, he's up here there. Thoughts on working on holidays? I'm not really against people working on holidays if they want to, but I think if you work on holidays, you should probably get paid double what you're getting paid. In my opinion, West Coast Classics and GTA 5 is the best hip-hop, especially after Dre Day. Thank you, Anton. I should start listening to some West Coast Classics. West Coast Classics, it's like mostly 90s rap, right? But I should listen to some of that. Thank you, Victor. I remember when Spider-Man 2 got revealed, people really thought Peter was Venom, even though there was a shot of him and Miles looking into an alleyway which they showed Venom. We basically know it's Harry Osborn by now. I have to still play the other games. I haven't played the other Spider-Man games. I still gotta play them. But, I tell you something, Disaster Report 4? What's that, buddy? I'll look the game up after the stream. Disaster Report 4. No, I didn't look at it specifically, Mario. Some law about shoplifting. But what I will say is that in these days, there's way more shoplifting than when I was a kid. Way, way more. And one of the reasons that there is actually so much shoplifting, one of the reasons that there's so much shoplifting is because of stupid laws and stupid prosecutors and stupid politicians. That's the reason. There's so many dumb prosecutors, like there's so many really stupid prosecutors that they don't think that you should be punished for shoplifting. Which, that's stupid. That's stupid as hell. And look, you know, if you have like some dumb teenager, right? If some dumb teenager goes into like a store and steals like a bag of chips, no, I don't think they should be, sent to jail. But if you have like somebody that goes into a store and just like, takes a garbage bag and starts stealing like a bunch of stuff, yes, throw them in jail. And that's like, I don't know like why is it so hard for these oh, this mission is available. I wanted the boat one. Why is it so hard for these politicians to, like...
Okay, then. Let me tell you
why is it so hard for them to pass laws? Or not even, sometimes, not even do anything? Because sometimes when the politicians themselves pass laws, it's sometimes even worse. I'm 29. Thank you, regular dude.
I'm too old to be called boys anyhow. They got a wagon I need, and you're getting it, okay? It'll be on a road out of Emerald Ranch.
But I'll tell you something.
The money is good.
I'll tell you something right now. Snake. I think it personally depends on the situation. But if somebody is like stealing multiple items, definitely throw them in jail. If it's like a kid, because kids steal, too. If it's like a kid that steals like a bag of chips, no, I don't think they should be, sent to jail. But if it's like clearly an adult that's shoplifting, yes, send them to jail. But the problem is that in society today, like you will have these organized shoplifting gangs that just go into stores and will just steal like crazy, and it's because there's no consequences, pretty much. Like, I don't know what these politicians are thinking and stuff like that. What I'll say about this is, if I was running a store, I would never open a store in New York, California, or Oregon, ever, in those places specifically. There's probably other places, or actually Illinois too. I would never open a store in those states, because those states are just really stupid when it comes to prosecuting shoplifters. And sometimes it feels like they're just against the store in the first place. And here's the thing about this. If somebody shoplifts at a store like Walmart doesn't get hurt that badly. But if somebody shoplifts at a mom and pop shop, you could cause them to go bankrupt. You could cause them you could cause them to lose their business if enough shoplifting. That could definitely happen. Like, if you look at, for example, in New York. In New York, in New York City, some of those, like, stores that are, like, in Manhattan, like, their rent is, like, $10,000 a month. Like, their rent alone on some of those stores. And some of them are even much more than that. It's, like, insane. Where they barely make a profit. And also the high taxes in New York. So if somebody goes into, like, an electronic shop in Manhattan and just starts stealing a bunch of stuff, that person isn't going to be able to pay rent. That person is going to lose their business. And so, is the government going to bail that person out? Is the government going to save that person's business? No, it's not. But if the person tries to stop the shoplifter, say, you know, get the hell out of my store, and tries to take the stuff back by force from them, they're going to get arrested. And so that's what I say. New York is just so stupid, you know, regarding this. I don't know what these politicians are personally thinking. Yeah. And do you know what I find so stupid is I've seen these videos online of like Walmart closing, Target closing, like CVS closing and stuff like that, and they're closing in these big cities, you know, in these states like New York and like, you know, California and Oregon and Illinois, and whenever these stores close, they close and they leave. Do you know what almost always happens? The politicians blame the stores. Now look, I'm no fan of Walmart. You know, I don't like Walmart corporate. They're scumbags. Don't get me wrong. But the reason that Walmart is closing their stores in a lot of places is because they're sick of the shoplifting. That's it. You know, they look at it on a cost basis. They look at it, you know, how much money are we making in this area? And how much stock is getting stolen? And if they're not making that much profit, they're just going to say, no, we're going to cut costs and just close the store down. And now what ends up happening is the neighborhood loses a store, and all the people there also lose their jobs. So people are blaming Walmart for this. And while Walmart is a scummy corporation, if that shoplifting wasn't going on and wasn't so out of control, they wouldn't be closing their stores in the first place. That wouldn't be happening. So, like, you know, why are you just... I prosecute the people who are stealing, just doing all this stuff. Because, you know, you have a society where it's almost anarchy at this point, when people can just go in, steal a bunch of stuff, and I think it's, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But in California, I think it is. Is it California? In California, there's like a law that it's like if you steal like $950 for stuff or something like that, that like at that point it will be it'll be a felony. But beyond that, it won't be. So like basically they know that they can just, as long as I steal like $900 for stuff and I don't go, you know, past that, you know, I'm not gonna get, you know, I'm just gonna get a slap on the wrist. And so when criminals know that, criminals pay attention to laws. Criminals see what the law is. And when criminals see weak laws, you know what they do? They exploit the system. That's what they do. Criminals will do anything to get ahead. You know, criminals exploit other people. They take advantage of other people. They don't care for other people. So when criminals are going to... when criminals see weak laws, they're going to take advantage of that. They will. So that's what I'll say. The person asking me about shoplifting, I think that it's, you know, it's totally out of control. And I think that, you know, my personal viewpoint, in my personal view, how I personally feel about this, if it's your store, you have a right to stop a person shoplifting. That's the way I see it. I'm not saying necessarily hurt them. What I'm saying is that you have a right to stop that person shoplifting. That's just my viewpoint on it, because they're coming into your property and they're taking stuff that belongs to you. They have no right to do that. So it's your property. It's your stuff. The only way it becomes their property is when they pay for it. That becomes their property. But it's like if they're coming in your store and they're just taking stuff, it doesn't belong to them. Hey GDIG. You know, the thing about this, what I'll say, guys, is that sometimes you hear these horror stories in, like, New York, where, like, somebody will get arrested, like, 50-something times. I'm not even joking, like, 50 times. And when I hear a story like that, I just think to myself, like, what the hell was this person doing? You know, like, why, what is the state doing? Why is the government not, you know, not punishing this guy? Like, how can somebody be arrested, like, 40 times for stealing? Like, you know, keep them in jail. Put harsher sentences on. Why are you releasing the person constantly? Depending on the crime here in the UK, if someone stabs and kills someone, they get minimum 4 years. The UK doesn't have life sentences as far as I know. And I personally think that that's a problem. I think that if you, I think if somebody kills another person, they should be serving life in prison. That's what I think. I don't think they should ever get out of prison. Let's see here. Why do you say the Walmart Corporation are scumbags? I understand Walmart's perspective to a degree. Why they close their stores because of shoplifting. No one wants stores. I don't blame Walmart necessarily for closing the stores down because who wants to deal with shoplifting constantly? However, though, there are other things that Walmart does that is, like, you know, very scummy. Like, if you listen to how Walmart, like, treats their employees, just go on Google and just look up, like, former people that worked for Walmart, and just listen to their stories, how Walmart treats their workers. No. You know, I'll say Walmart can be a pretty scummy corporation. That's what I'll say about it. And you know what I'll tell you, though, guys? With corporations love self-checkouts now because they don't need a cashier. But what I'll say is with self-checkouts, you're going to have a lot more theft. It's going to happen. Because people can pretend to pay for stuff, and they're not really paying for the stuff. So without self-checkouts, you know, with self-checkouts, you're going to have a lot more theft. It's going to happen. Me personally, you know what I'll tell you guys? Whenever I go to a self-checkout machine, you know, I know how to use it. I know how to scan stuff. But what I'm personally worried about, you know what always scares me about using self-checkouts? What scares me about using self-checkouts is that I accidentally scan an item twice, or if I forget to scan an item, or I don't scan an item by mistake. That's what scares me. And then then Walmart, you know, accuses me of being a criminal and, like, stealing from them, or another company that I use the self-checkout for. So it could be a completely honest mistake where you just don't scan one item. And that's why whenever I do a self-checkout, I literally read through the menu like 2 or 3 times to make sure I scanned everything that I did. So that's why I'm always just scared about self-checkouts. I'm scared I'm going to make a mistake and that they're going to accuse me of committing a crime. That's what I just hate about self-checkouts personally. Because if the cashier makes a mistake and doesn't scan an item, that's not on you. You know, you're not going to get in trouble for that, but just good luck saying that it was a mistake when you were the one who was using the self-checkout. Witness what? Murder? What? What murder?
He just leaves me be.
What? Who killed him? I didn't commit any murder.
Need a lawman here.
No, you're too lazy to self-checkout. I know that you're trolling. I crushed him? Oh. Have you been arrested? No. Honestly, I don't want to think about either of them, DJ. Oh, I ran him over while looking down the chat. Oh, okay. Well, oops, then. The way that I see it, if you use a self-checkout machine, you should get you should get the groceries discounted. That's what I personally see it as. Because you're doing the company's job. You're scanning the items and you're bagging your stuff. So that's... Okay, let me see here. Thank you, Imperialist. There are still burnt down and abandoned buildings in Minneapolis from the riots 3 years ago. All those businesses aren't coming back. Oh, well, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Mario. You know, behavior, you know, I don't know why people do stuff like that, just like destroying stores that, you know, have nothing to do with what happened. But yeah, there was businesses that unfortunately had gotten destroyed. Let me go over here. Public right here. There's super chats that I missed. I think I read all of them. Oh, come on, not this. Yeah. Yeah, guys, one moment. I'm just going back into game chat because I don't know why my my poker game glitched out. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Las Vegas alien story, what? What Las Vegas alien story? Pro, if you owned a store, how much should you pay your employees? Honestly, Steve, I'll tell you this. If I ran a store, I don't think I would have any employees. And it's not that I'm cheap or anything like that. It has actually nothing to do with the money. But it's more of the fact that I guess I'm just not that trusting. That might be it. Because when I've worked in retail, I have seen so many workers and so many employees that just didn't care. I've seen so many dozens of people who just didn't care and just wouldn't help their coworkers or anything like that. And we had a really nice manager at times, a really nice manager who was very accommodating to people and would help people out, and people that took advantage of him still. And so that's probably why I would not have any kind of employees, because of the fact that I would just be worried about something like that happening. Now, if it was a larger store, I would have to have employees because I wouldn't be able to do everything myself. But if I was like a small store, I would do everything myself. I would not have any employees. I would just rely on myself primarily. That would just be it, me personally, because I have had a really bad experience working with people, and I guess that just kind of shapes my view of it. Now, if you're asking me how much do I think that stores should pay workers, I think that cashiers should be making way more than, let me see here. I think cashiers should be making way more than what they are right now. Because I think that cashiers are like one of those positions that society just like looks down on, and they think that cashiers are like delinquents or like stupid or something like that. But being a cashier is not necessarily easy. When like you ring up like hundreds of people a day as a cashier. And not only that, you're standing there. Nobody talks about that. They don't talk. They're like, oh, it's an easy job. You just at the register. But you stand at the register. That's the thing. In most European countries, people will be sitting at the register. But in America, people stand at the register. When I was a cashier, we stood at the register for like, you know, 8 to 10 hours. And that's not good for your feet. That's not good for your legs. That's bad for your joints. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I know that that's not good for you, standing for that long. And so, for people wondering, why do American cashiers stand when they could sit? Is it that companies are cheap and they don't want to buy chairs? It's not even that. It's the fact that in American culture, in America, it's seen as lazy when you sit. That's why jobs that can be done sitting are still done standing. Because of the fact that it's seen as lazy when you sit. That's pretty much the reason. I personally think it's stupid. I think that if somebody's sitting, I think they're actually more productive because they're more relaxed. So if you can do the entire task sitting down, why would you force the person to stand? So I personally think that cashiers should get, you know, paid more than what they are, you know, right now. And I would say this, you know, why doesn't a store do something like, you know, cashiers ring up hundreds of people a day, right? Why doesn't a store do something like the cashier gets 1% of the transaction back? Like, you know, something like that, 1%, which is like literally like the lowest that you can possibly give. But like, imagine the cashier gets 1% of every single transaction to make back. The company is still making massive amounts of profit. And then that way, from the sales directly, they can pay them from the sales directly. So that's one solution that I've always personally thought of. Why don't they do a system like that? Cashiers get 1% of every transaction they bring up. And literally, and what happens is that will build up, that'll stock up, and cashiers will be able to have a livable wage. And also, when you think about it too, it'll make cashiers more productive. Because people are going to be willing to ring people up. They're going to be willing to do cashier more. They're going to want to ring people up. And they're going to be, you know, much more quicker and efficient with it if they know that they're getting, you know, part of the transaction back every time. If they aren't, then, you know, then who's to say that they're going to be fast, necessarily? So that's, I work night, screw stocking, and I agree that most employees that come are lazy and only do 10% of the work everyone else does. Yeah, and do you know what's really annoying about that, Feline? Is that the guy who does all the work, management gets on their case. But the people who are lazy, management doesn't get on their case. Seen that happen multiple times.
You want to have a good time?
The massive forest fire is burning in Canada. Oh, it's really horrible. Bunny, thank you for the super chat. My parents sent me pictures of what the air looks like in New York. Because my parents are in New York right now. And that's, yeah, New York's air is just really bad right now. The professional getting a mugshot, that will be the day. Well, thank you, Carter, for the super chat.
Damn right.
You know, the thing about it is that when somebody gets a mugshot, you should actually never smile because it'll actually make you look bad at trial. There's super chats that I missed. Well, I'll have to take a look. Let me take a look here. If there's any super chats that I missed. I think and thank you, Ishia Boy, for the super chat earlier. I think I got everyone.
No worries, darling.
Oh, and thank you, Angel Feliciano. I missed him earlier. And DL Gaming. I thought of adding a, okay, we'll check here. I thought of adding a parody gang of Saints in my, the Reno Angels, and the boss would be named after you, Patrick. Well, the Saints are already parodies in their own game right now, though, DL Gaming. I'm just trying to see, did I miss any other super chats here? I'm just scrolling through them. If I missed anybody else's super chat, I do apologize. I think I got all of them. I'm looking through the list here. That's probably fake with the Las Vegas alien.
Je suis bien, Tucker. So it goes.
Which city do you prefer, Los Santos or Liberty City? Oh, thank you, Han, if I'm reading your name correctly. I prefer Liberty City, I guess, just because I'm, yeah, I guess I would just say I prefer Liberty City. I'm originally from New York. When did you know it was time to leave, quit your job? When I was doing really well on YouTube and when corporate refused to give me a good raise. Probably not. I've never been into those games. DF Store. Well, I'm glad that you're okay, Mr. Waifu. Thank you for the super chat. What even caused those fires? Has it been revealed? What do you think about Amazon? Amazon is a very, Amazon is actually probably even more scummier than Walmart, actually. Amazon really overworks their workers. And, if you're an Amazon driver, it's the worst. Like, my friend used to work for Amazon, and he would get texts by supervisors repeatedly over and over and over again. And those texts were just asking him, where are you? Did you drop off this package? Where are you? Like, and he was stuck in traffic. I missed Bunny's super chat. Let me see. Disaster. I saw his super chat. Disaster reports. Yeah, I answered his question on the forest fires. It was I don't understand. Yeah, Leonel. I remember. I don't understand why you can't even smile in your passport photo. Well, I think that I would have to Google it. I wonder what the reason is, because I used to take passport photos. I did. I took hundreds of passport photos. I did that at my job too, and when I worked in the photo department as well. And so I was really good with that. But I actually never knew the reason. I knew that you couldn't. Let's see. Why can't you smile in a passport photo? Let's see what the reason is. Facial recognition. That's it. They want you to have a neutral face. That's, facial recognition software. That's it. So I see, that's the reason. But, I'll tell you though, I have had people, I'll tell you something. Taking passport photos is very frustrating at times. It was, because I would have, well, 3 jacks there. See if they're gonna bet here too while he's folding. Okay, come on, let's see. Come on, put the dollar in. Oh, come on, you gotta fold.
Let's just say I wish I lived in simpler times.
Too bad.
I see you are the silent type.
And 1. Okay, there we go. About the passport photos, I've had people complain to me on passport photos. Like, people would you gotta think, people are really stupid when they take their passport photos. And I mean, people are really, really stupid when they take passport photos. Because I'll tell you this, the #1 complaint I got about passport photos was that I can't smile. And I just told people, I just said, you just cannot smile in these photos, but they want to smile. And that would, people would complain about that. Okay, whatever. But the dumbest things that I've seen with passport photos is that people would wear hats, or they would wear glasses, and I would tell them, like, please, you gotta take these off. And sometimes I would even have somebody with a hat and glasses, like a hat and sunglasses, like they're literally trying to disguise themselves or something like that. And like I tell them, like, you gotta take this off, and they get all offended and they get all pissed off at me. And I said, you know, the government is not gonna like accept this as like identification for you, and you're gonna come back here and want it returned, and then you're gonna get all pissed off. And then they say, well, that's my problem, not your problem. And I say, okay, go ahead. And I take the photo for them, and then they come back a week later and want to return. And so that's yeah.
What was the cook again today?
Ainsi va la vie.
Would a real-life person appearing as a character in a fictional story be considered copyright infringement? Yes. And the reason it would be considered copyright infringement is because you are using a real person's face and their character, which is based off them, in a media, and you are not in a creative media, and you are not compensating them for that. You can add real-life people to video games and stuff like that. People have done that before, like at Phil Collins and Vice City Stories. But you need the permission of that person to be added in the game. You can't just add real-life people. Now, there's the thing. Rockstar actually can get away with adding real-life people in games a lot of times without their permission. You know how they do that? They create a parody. That's how they do. They create a fictional character that's based on that person. And when you do something like that, it's a lot harder to prove copyright infringement. So that's... I will play Raid Episode 3 when I'll try to get it done as soon as I can. I've never seen twins take passport photos personally. Why is it bad to smile in a mugshot? The reason it's bad. Okay, here's what I will tell you. I guess I'm gonna be giving some legal advice here, which is weird. If, God forbid, anybody here ever gets arrested, if you want to take it to trial, don't ever smile in your mugshot. Don't do that. A mugshot should be like a neutral face. That's what it pretty much should be. The reason that if you smile in the mugshot, you're actually giving investigators what they want. You're helping investigators. Because what happens is, if somebody smiles in the mugshot, the prosecutor could actually then use that picture against you and could say, look, he's not really sorry. He has no remorse for what he did. He's smiling. And you could be totally innocent. You could have nothing to do with the crime. But the government might say, look, he's smiling in his photo, and so therefore he's not sorry for what he did. He has no remorse, and they could use that against you. So don't smile in mugshots. That's what I'll say about that, is don't. Don't do that. Thank you, Trevor Jeffrey, for the super chat.
That's right.
Well, I'm not a lawyer. What I'm just saying is that lawyers will tell you exactly what I told you. They'll tell you, do not smile in mugshots. They'll say the exact same thing I said. So you can look that up too.
You know, they're saying the city's revised school charter doesn't even pretend to offer francophone subject matter.
I'll do a video. I'll do a video about the club. That car club thing. Tomorrow I'll do a video about that. Let me see here while these guys are doing their turn. I'm gonna look up Rockstar Newswire. Let's see. June 13th to Vinewood Car Club. That's at the... I recognize that place. It's at Terminal.
That's my job. I'll show her my new pearl necklace.
Ooh, you ain't lying.
This place.
Do you want to have some fun?
dropping into the car club and driving out.
You know where to find me if you change your mind.
If you are not a GTA Plus member, can you, I'm just reading this, can you still buy these cars without a discount? Like, are you even able to buy these cars at all? Like, it looks like if you don't have GTA Plus, you can still access the car garage. But can you buy the car still if you don't have GTA Plus?
I bet you know how to make the ladies real happy.
Thank you, Trevor Jeffrey, and thank you, Mr. Waifu. I'm not feeling mentally well right now. I'm going to go. Well, I hope that you feel better, Mr. Waifu. I hope everything's all right. Apparently, Car Club only going to be exclusive to GTA Plus. I'm going to examine this Newswire post a little bit more after the stream. Thank you, King of Killing. No, you can't. Oh, wow, look at this.
The mayor has been committing so many crimes.
Ce ne serait pas la première fois.
Well, well.
Wow, he put max money in. Some people are going to start folding now.
Renee has taken up with another house girl. Silly old fool.
C'est ce que l'on raconte.
He's out too. He's in. Okay. You went to a max with that? Oh my. Oh, he has really good cards. The queen guy is gonna win, probably. Let's see what happens. The only way the queen guy is not gonna win is if I get a third 10. Oh! I got the third 10. I won. What are the chances of that? Yeah. Wow. $20 there. I'm taking it all. Wow. I thought I was done for. There was no way I was gonna get a third 10, but I did. I got it. Wow. He's got the queen guy has to be pissed on that. What are the chances of that happening? Okay, yeah. I am leaving right now. Just taking a hold that money, just leaving. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was, my chances of getting that third 10 was very slim. Is gambling Red Dead Redemption 2 also banned because of the laws? Not really, because, well, in single player, they can't ban you from gambling in single player. In the online, I guess they could make some kind of argument, but you're not paying for cash with, you know, microtransactions.
That's it then, I guess.
Will GTA 6 have a pay-to-win thing like GTA Plus? God, I hope not. Will yeah. Thank you, Trevor. Does promoting trading cars at this point? Trading cars is just where one of your friends gives you a car through dupes and glitches, and you're still keeping the car. So let me know, guys. The car club. Can you, in the car club, can you buy cars in the car club if you are not a GTA Plus member? Does that work? Only once, Hash. Don't think so. Well, what I'll say about if the leaks are true and this year's Call of Duty is Modern Warfare 3, I'm actually kind of excited for that, but not for the multiplayer, because I'm more excited for the story, because I want to see Makarov in the new story. So I want to see what kind of villain he's going to be in the new one. I believe you can, but not from the club. we're gonna have to test this when it comes out. I'm not gonna buy GTA Plus, don't worry guys. But I'm gonna go in that car club and I'm gonna see if I can buy cars without GTA Plus. The car club is coming out with the update, I'm assuming, right? So we're gonna see there. Don't worry, I will never buy GTA Plus. I'm not gonna buy GTA Plus. But I think you can still walk in the car club without GTA Plus, right? So I'm gonna walk in the car club and I'm gonna when I walk in the car club, I'm gonna see if I can buy cars without GTA Plus. Yes, Dukes. Why are people saying no Russian? Because that's the mission in Modern Warfare 2 of Makarov. I guess we'll see, Hostile Soldier. So I guess I'll probably be going here, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that Hesh. I hope that everyone's okay in Canada with the fires, and hopefully, you know, the air quality also improves. But I thank you everybody for hanging out with me today, guys. You guys are awesome. And I'm gonna probably have a video tomorrow, probably talking about my thoughts on the car club. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. I'll stream again on Sunday. See you guys. Take care, everyone.